Hi, it's Nurse Gwen. And so I've been going back and forth whether I was going to go live today. I had a little bit of a rough day. Today, well, tomorrow, I was due to renew my certification for my nurse practitioner license. And I am a procrastinator. So today I started on Friday, and they had to hook up my AAMP membership with the certification board so that I could get my discount. I got on today. I didn't have all my hours. I had to get them all uploaded, and it just drained me for the day. So I'm just at home reading, getting information, and I stumbled across this article. And the article was talking about two nurses who were working in a correctional facility. And so they had a patient who had Hep C. So he was on a medication. It was called Sovaldi. So it's really expensive. So while they were preparing to give him the medicine, they dropped it. So there was 12 pills. So they called the pharmacist. They threw the pills in a sharps container, and they let their supervisor know. Well, they knew the pills were really expensive, so they called the attending doctor, who told them to go get the medication out of the sharps container. So they go get the medication out of the sharps container to take it to the pharmacist eyeballs it and says it looks okay. It doesn't look like it was contaminated with anything. And they took it to their office. Meanwhile, this medicine had been in the sharps container with needles, diabetic strips, other medicines, but the pharmacist eyeballed the meds after they were taken out of sharps container, said they're okay. The other supervisor, from what I'm remembering, leaves, and the medication was given to the inmate anyway, without the inmate knowing that it had first dropped on the ground, then went into the sharps container, then given to the inmate. The inmate had no knowledge of this. Well, when another supervising nurse came on and found out, she notified the state board. So the state board filed charges against the two nurses. And what happened was, they said that the doctor was wrong for telling them to take it out of the sharps container. The pharmacy was also wrong, because that is not the facility rules. You don't just eyeball medication and say it's okay. Once it's dropped on the ground, it is considered contaminated, right? So they did acknowledge that they were both wrong, but guess who took the brunt of the discipline? The nurses. The two nurses were disciplined because, one, we have an duty to do no harm. We are to advocate for our patients. We make sure that they're okay, and we know the facility rules is, if it drops, you don't give it. And we know, practicing, that the rule is that if it drops, you do not give it. It's considered contaminated. So the nurses then appealed it. They appealed the governing body, which is the nursing board's decision, that they would be disciplined. Let me see what the discipline. I believe the discipline was like 90 days, plus they had to take some courses, which they're lucky just to get that. So once they appealed it, the Superior Court above the State Board of Nursing said they would overrule it, that the nurses did not have to accept the discipline that they received. Well, the nursing board went to the Supreme Court, who favored them and reinstated their initial discipline for the nurses who gave the medication. So it just had a couple great points, which I think I should tell you guys. The nursing board is the authority for how we practice, and it is important for us to know what it says, what our scope of practice is, and to operate in the scope of practice that we have. It doesn't matter if you're an LPN or RN, an advanced practice nurse. Know what your scope is. And don't allow a doctor or pharmacist, anyone, to bully you and make you do something outside of that scope, especially if it puts your patient at harm. So those are things. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, anyone can file a complaint against you. It could be your coworker. It could be the patient. It could be the staff. Anyone can. So be careful with the way that you practice, because basically everything you do is on you. And again, you have to comply with the governing bodies and the State Nurse Practice Acts and its rules. The facility policies, we have to comply with those. And our first duty is to protect our patients. I was like, who does this? Like, who? I've heard of people dropping medicine on the ground and pick it up. But and that's not right. Let me first say that. But to drop somebody's medicine, pick it up off the ground, put it in a sharps container that has blood and God knows what else in it, take it out, put it in your office like you're going to give it back to the pharmacy, and tell somebody to give it. I feel like the license of the doctor should be disciplined. Maybe not taken away, but he should be disciplined. Definitely pharmacy and the nurses as well. That's disgusting. And I wonder if they ever told the inmate after all this that his medicine was contaminated. Someone who's who's taking medicine for Hep C and was exposed to all those other things. It's just something to think about. We have to be wise in how we practice. I always had the motto of taking care of people of, what if that was my mom? What if that was my grandma? And I'm not saying I did everything right, but I would never do this. This is disgusting. So, as I'm just trying to learn and grow, and I've been reading more, it's just a lot of things that go on in nursing. And, our patients are waiting for us, but they're waiting for us to do the right thing by them. Keep that in mind. So I hope you guys have a great night. I am going to go relax now, but I had to get that out because I just couldn't believe that story. Talk to you soon.